You are tuned to the Witching Hours, and I'm your host, Kanaska Carter. On tonight's episode, we're going to be speaking about vengeful spirits. So, vengeful ghosts. The first one would be the Green Lady. So, what is a vengeful ghost? They seek justice or retribution for harm endured while they were alive. So, revenge may also be sought out if the spirits did not have a proper burial. Sometimes vengeful spirits are demons that are sent from the gods. So this concept of vengeful spirits goes back to ancient times, throughout many cultures around the world. So the Green Lady, Lady LOUISA CARTERET, this is from the United Kingdom. So she is a female spirit that haunts locations in Scotland. So I've heard a couple variations of this story. I believe that there are more than one story. I've found two different variations so far. So it's a female spirit that haunts locations in Scotland such as Knock Castle, Ashantully Castle, Longleat House, and the Keres Castle. So in some stories she was murdered. In other stories she died while giving birth at the age of 22. And the actual murder was of a footman. So we'll get into that. So in some stories where she's murdered, many claim that her footsteps can be heard as she walks the castle. So when it comes to the Longleat House ghost, this happened in 1733. Lady Louisa Thynne, who was Lady Louisa Carteret, she married Thomas Thynne, who was the second Viscount Weymouth of the Longleat House in Wiltshire. So she was told to bring her own servants, and she brought this footman, and he was very devoted to her. Some of the other servants got jealous and created rumors. Word got back to her husband, and there's suspicion that either he killed the footman by pushing him over a staircase, or somebody was hired to kill him or something like that. So she favored him, and his body ended up being buried in the cellar of the house. She walked the hallways trying to find him, to no avail, and then ended up getting pregnant. She gave birth at the age of 22 or 23, I believe it was. She developed a chill to pneumonia and then got pneumonia. So the day that she gave birth was the day that she died, while she was giving birth. So she was seen wandering the passageways where the crime took place after her death. So where the footman had died, she's seen walking those passageways. She walks in a green dress because that's the dress color that she died in. I guess be careful what you wear, right? It's kind of ironic I'm wearing a green shirt. Totally didn't plan that. So, the Green Lady's Walk is what it's called, where she walks that area, banging on doors and walking, looking for the footman. So her husband, the Viscount, he ended up moving away. So he moved some of his acquaintances were the one who spilled the beans and said he was terrified of encountering the Green Lady's spirit because she would knock on doors and walk the hallways. So it's kind of creepy. I think I would move out too. So the next vengeful spirit we're going to be getting into is the Keres or the Keres. So they are either the personification of murder, disease, death in the battlefield. They're either personified as the bringer of plagues and disease, or they're an actual spirit. It's a fanged female spirit that they are known to be craving blood. They feast on the bodies of those they killed before sending them down to the underworld. So opposite to their brother Thanatos, which would be a non-violent death. So they're also known as the agents of Moros or Morai. And the goddesses of fate. They are the ones who measure the length of somebody's life. When their time is up, they notify the Keres who would end this person's life. They would find a way to end their life. So many of them, they would haunt battlefields, like similar to vultures, over the dead and over the dying. It is said that even Zeus himself would at times call upon the Keres, and they would have to do his bidding. So are they the personification of death and fatigue? Or are they actually fanged women with talons wearing bloody garments sent by the gods? So Pandora's jaw, allegedly, when it opened, the evil spirits that were unleashed were the Keres. So bringers of sickness, disease, and plague. I'm curious, are they doing rituals in the government to bring upon these diseases? Ta-da! Just kidding. So they can be brought upon by incantation. That's interesting. They do a spell or something, and they bring upon disease. These spirits that will kill people. No! Vengeful spirits of the gods. Or are they a symbolic meaning of plague and death? That's from Greek mythology. Or maybe it's based on truth. Decide for yourself, folks. That's it for this episode of The Witching Hours. Episode 23, I believe, is coming out very soon. That's going to be on DYBBUK boxes. So, another vengeful spirit. So there's quite a few of them that I want to get into, but the next episode will be on the DYBBUK box. Love you guys. I'm your host, Keres Carter, for another episode of The Witching Hours.